So you've sent your book to beta readers and now the responses are coming in. This is a huge step in your publishing journey. While it can be thrilling, it's just as likely to stir up some nerves. What if they hate it? What if they didn't understand your main character? What if they pointed out flaws you didn't even know existed? These are all normal thoughts. Let's start by making one thing clear. Beta readers are not professional editors. Their role is different. They're not here to check your grammar, adjust your punctuation, or fix sentence structure. What they bring to the table is a reader's experience, the same kind of feedback you'd get from someone who might buy your book. They notice when a chapter feels confusing, when a character's action don't match their personality, or when a plot twist seems unbelievable. That's their job, to respond honestly and instinctively. So when you start receiving feedback, don't expect line edits or polished suggestions. What you're getting is the raw reaction of someone who read your story as a consumer. This kind of insight is valuable because it shows you how your book lands with the average reader, something you can't see for yourself, no matter how many times you've revised. Before you dive into all those comments, take a deep breath. It's natural to feel a little defensive. You've spent weeks, maybe months, or years working on this story. Your brain might be on high alert, ready to defend every paragraph. However, the first rule of handling beta feedback is this: don't react immediately. Just read it, all of it, without opening your manuscript. Let the responses sit with you at first. To stay organized, create a system for tracking the feedback. A simple spreadsheet or document can go a long way. Note each beta reader's name, what they mentioned, and any points they repeat. Label comments under specific categories like plot, character development, pacing, and world building. Breaking things down like this helps you spot patterns instead of feeling overwhelmed by a long list of unrelated suggestions. One of the most productive ways with beta feedback is to look for repetition. If one reader points out something that doesn't land, it could just be a matter of personal taste. But if several readers all mention confusion in the same scene or frustration with the same character, pay attention. That's a sign you may need to revise. Also remember that feedback isn't a criticism. It's an insight. It's data you can use to strengthen your story. You're not being attacked. You're being handed a roadmap to improvement. Even when the comments are blunt or brutal to read, approach them with curiosity rather than being defensive. Not every note will be useful, and that's okay. Learning to sort what's helpful from what isn't is a skill. Ask yourself a few key questions when reading a piece of feedback. Is this a repeated concern? Will this suggestion improve the story's clarity or engagement? Does this change still align with my vision for the book? If the answer is yes, consider making the adjustment. If it feels like a personal preference or if it pulls your book away from its core message, it's okay to ignore it. This is your story, and you're the one who decides what stays and what goes. Enjoying the video? Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And if you want to stay updated, turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Sometimes readers will struggle to explain exactly what they didn't like, and you'll have to do a little interpretation. For example, when someone says, "I couldn't connect with the main character," they may be picking up on weak motivation, inconsistent behavior, or a lack of emotional depth. Try to dig into what they meant and look at how your character is presented throughout the story. Other common feedback might sound like, "I got confused during this chapter," which can indicate unclear point of view shifts, too many events crammed together, or transitions that need more work. The pacing felt off might suggest the story dragged in places or jumped quickly without giving readers a chance to absorb key moments. Pay attention to these phrases and ask yourself what might be causing them. Another example could be, "I didn't like this character." Don't take that at face value. Ask whether the character is supposed to be likable. If they're the antagonist, the reader's dislike might mean you nailed it. But if the character is your romantic lead or protagonist and people are consistently not rooting for them, you may need to rework their arc. Once you've gone through the notes and figured out what matters most, it's time to revise. But don't rush into changes. Make a plan. Separate the revisions into layers. Trying to fix everything at once will lead to burnout or create new issues. Focus on the big things first. That includes story structures, timelines, and any major plot holes. Once the larger pieces are in place, move on to character development. Are your characters' actions believable? Are their motivations clear? Are their emotional arcs satisfying? After examining the characters, consider the chapter flow. Does each section lead smoothly into the next? Are your transitions strong? Is the pacing balanced? Only after you've dealt with all of those above should you focus on smaller elements like improving dialogue, sharpening clarity, or smoothing out awkward sentences. There are numerous tools available to assist during this stage. Scrivener is great for rearranging scenes and keeping track of various elements in one place. Google Docs works well if you're collecting comments or need to share revised sections with trusted readers. Sticky notes, whiteboards, or simple revision checklists can also help you visualize your plan and stay focused. Throughout this process, remember to be kind to your beta readers. They took the time to read your draft and give honest thoughts, often without payment. Even if you don't agree with everything they said, they still helped you gain perspective. Follow that up with a thank you message. Let them know you appreciate their input. If you made changes based on their suggestions, share with them. Once the book is finalized or published, consider offering them a complimentary copy or an advanced reader's version. It shows that you value their help and want them to see the result. And if you found someone who gave clear, thoughtful, and thorough feedback, add them to your list of reliable beta readers for future projects. Building a circle of trusted readers makes the editing process easier each time you do it. Beta reader feedback is one of the most valuable tools you can have as an author. It might not always be comfortable, but it's almost always helpful. When you handle it calmly, filter it wisely, and revise with care, you not only improve your story, but also your skill as a writer. Your book doesn't need to be perfect before it's shared, and it won't be perfect after the first round of edits either. But if you're open to listening, feedback is how stories grow. It's how your writing improves, and you're not here to write something that pleases everyone. You're here to write something that connects with the right readers. And beta reader feedback helps you do just that. Want to learn how to self-edit your manuscript so you're not sending your editor more work than necessary and saving you money? Check out this video where I share the best tools to help it shine. Click here now, and I'll see you there.